Build value in real assets into your life. And you have to understand what an asset is. A garden's an asset. A skill is an asset. Tools that let you do things are assets. Piece of property that's paid for or so easy to service the debt on that you really don't care that it's there is an asset. A network of people you can count on is an asset. A network of people you can do business with is an asset. Those are assets. We tend to think of assets as the little bit we're taught about in economics in high school and college as being like on a balance sheet. Quantifiable assets. A equals L plus C. That's, for those without the accounting background, that's assets equals liabilities plus capital. Assets. But if you go into that world, you learn that companies have pretty big asset values in things that are immaterial. You know what the biggest asset is on McDonald's balance sheet? I mean, McDonald's, the hamburgers, the garbage food, right? You know what their biggest asset is? I know, Jack, you've talked about this before. Ray Kroc was a real estate genius. It's real estate. It's not. They hold more real estate than the Catholic Church. The most valuable thing on their balance sheet, it's a line item. It says goodwill. Goodwill. What does that mean? The value of the brand. The value of the brand. It's a subjective number. It's an estimated number. But what it means is you're driving down the road, you're like, damn, I'm hungry, and you come across golden arches. You can see them long before you can read. And even if you don't want to eat there, you know that's food. That's McDonald's. You know the name. We can learn from the cronies. We can learn from the corporations. You can say that's vaporware, that it's not real, it's backed by nothing, but you'd be wrong. There's a reason people will pay over $1 million to become a franchisee and make minimum wage and build up a McDonald's. There's a guy in my audience, really solid man, doing great work with kids now, multi-millionaire in his retirement. You know how he got there? He built up some McDonald's franchises and sold them. You notice he didn't build up Bill's Burger Shack franchises. He built McDonald's franchises because that number's real. Well, your social capital is real. The networks you have are real. Even if they're non-existent, then it's a real zero. So build up your assets. I'm talking the physical things that you can quantify a number on. The liquid capital, yes. The semi-liquid capital. Real estate is semi-liquid capital. It's not liquid. It's semi-liquid. It takes time to move a piece of property into liquid capital. And there's illiquid capital. I mean, there's no way to directly convert it into money, but it can be converted into money over and over and over and over and over and over again across time. Or it can be converted into other things of value. The way you know you're looking at capital is it can be it can be shifted into other forms of capital. If you cannot shift something into a alternate form of capital, it's not capital. Doesn't mean every form can shift into every other form. It means this thing that you think is capital, if it really is, you can shift it into some other form of capital. And if you can't, it's not capital. If it's capital, and you say, wait a minute, did he say assets equals liability plus capital? Yeah. Go learn what the phrase or what the equation actually does, and you'll see why I'm basically equating capital and asset here at this time. All right. So we need to build value in real assets in our life. That means we also need to develop skills in ourselves and our family and our community. It doesn't do any good for you to be the guy that can do everything surrounded by people that can do absolutely nothing. All you'll do is work yourself to death and die miserable and angry at everybody. You need to be training your children to not just be functional members of society that are well socialized and know how to obey the rules of the state. But boy, you better teach that kid how to repair a carburetor, even though none of the new cars have them. You might be going back to some of that technology at some point. It ain't all going to be solar. Some things still use carburetors. Teach them how to fish. Teach them how to hunt. Teach them how to fix shit around the house. Don't have your kid be 24 years old. Your kid that's like 8 right now. When he's 24 years old and he finally manages to get a house and he's going on a YouTube or whatever exists at the time to learn how to fix his sink when all that happened is a pipe fell off the bottom. He just needs to stick it back on and turn a bolt. Every time you have some shit you need to fix around the house, it'll take you longer to do it with your kid. Your kid won't want to do it. Drag his ass or her ass along anyway and make them do it. I remember like my uncle going, hey, I'm going to change the oil in the car. Oh, okay. No, you're coming. And learning to change the oil in a car. Do I change my oil in my car now? Hell no, I don't. You know why? Because I can make more money than it costs me to have the oil changed in the car. In the time it takes for me to change the oil in the car. And I don't want to do it. But I know how. And it's a funny thing. You learn how to do a few things and you realize you can do almost anything.